Today, we're on the final stretch of getting this car ready for power tour. All right, keys in, focus, and she's dead. So I'm home for a few days, and I got to run up to town, and there's one last Best Buy in town. I'm gonna see if I can't get a dash cam in there. They got a nice one with a rear-facing lens. So we're going to put a two-way dash cam in the car. And I'm going to look for a GPS tracker, too. I think that might be kind of a good thing for a cross-country trip. So let's get to town. I got to get to the pawn shop first. So see what they got. Because, well, yeah, pawn shops. Used to crack me up when people would complain about rush hour in Wichita, and I'd always be like, what, you mean that 8.5 minutes of mild inconvenience? These people have no idea what a real rush hour is. Yeah, they'll be happy for this if they were in Chicago, so or Atlanta or Indianapolis or St. Louis. Or, well, fill in the blank. Oh boy, we made it. Now let's see what happens. So we got a dash cam, so let me show you what I bought. I ended up getting this Cobra SC200D. It's $179 plus tax. It's got a rear mounted camera and all that. It seems to be a permanent mount. So I sat there and I read a bunch of the reviews to see if it was good or it was bad, and there was a lot of positive reviews and there was a lot of negative reviews. But when I started digging into the negative reviews, I realized it was just mostly people just complaining like, it was hard to hook up. I didn't like it because first world problem. It was just a bunch of first world problems. Apparently, from the people that did like it, it works fairly well. The one thing I did pick up out of the reviews is I'm going to need to put a bigger SD card in it. And it holds a fairly large one. So the one it comes with, they said, holds about 30 to 50 minutes. I'll probably go buy a 128 gig card, put it in there. That way we'll have some pretty good videos. So we'll see how that works. So let's get back to the house and we'll just have to go from there. So we had a tornado and the sirens went off. And then the dog decided to go off, which was cute. And more sirens, and as it got darker, well, the hail started, and my car got beat up. Lots of lightning, but it got real intense there for a while. So, I have to wait till morning to see what happened. Well, I guess we'll get back at it tomorrow. I think the car should be okay. It's really dirty. It's really trashed. But the last two times I've taken it out, I've almost got it took out by a deer and now a tornado. So we'll get it all cleaned up tomorrow and check it for dents. Luckily there's no broken glass, so I'm happy about that. So I guess we'll catch y'all tomorrow. So it's the next day, so I got the car washed up, so let's take a look. The white one, you can see I washed this car yesterday morning. See all the dirt, and it was twice as bad on the other car. I had trees stuck to this, but I did hose it off, but doesn't appear to be any real damage. A few scratches, no broken glass, thankfully. We're gonna have to, oh, a bird found it. That makes sense. But we got the gist of it. Well, there's one. Yeah, two. So we do have some hail damage, but at least there's no broken glass, and I'll have to wash it and put some wax over with the black to find any more, but I can see the white. The roof got a little beat up. So, oh yeah, it's golf balled. Doggone it. So, which is odd because the hood isn't, but it's really kind of hard to see on camera, but the roof is kind of golf balled. I guess that's the chance you take living in Kansas, so I guess we'll just have to go from here. I'll get this cleaned up and then we'll install the camera. Part of why these cars get so dirty when it rains, so a lot of people that wouldn't make sense, but in Kansas with all the dust and rain and everything and wind, there are quite literal times it just literally just rains mud. You think rain would wash it off? No, it just literally rains mud, and you got to go and wash everything when the rain quits, which is ironic, but it is what it is. This is southern Kansas. Well, we got the car washed, so let me show you the damage from last night. It's kind of hard to tell. We had a couple of dents like right there and right there, right there. You can't really tell on the top, but if you get it at the right angle, it just hundreds of little dents up here. Not too bad, they're not deep, but on the back trunk lid too, you can't really tell because it's scratched up, but if you get it in the right angle, you can see just dozens and dozens of little dents all up and down. Okay, so we got the dash cam, so let's get this thing unboxed and see what it all entails. Alright, so let's get this thing open. Well, it's in some good packaging, I'll tell you that. So, we got the cameras, we got the cords, a little bit of everything. More importantly, we got the instruction manual. So this is what we're dealing with. We got the camera, we got, I think this is the cord to plug this into that, and I'm going to have to run it probably under the liner to the back window there. The camera, the backup cam. This has got the mount. It's a permanent mount, so it's going to have to hook up somewhere like this. It's going to be, we're going to have to find a good place for it. Oh, I don't know where to hook it up, where it's not going to be in the way, but we'll find it. So let me go through the instruction manual and I'll figure out how this thing works. So I have to crawl into the back seat and start there, I guess. There is quite literally nothing to this. So I have to figure out how all this works. Yeah. I do know that I have to get an app for it. I've had the Cobra app for my last camera, but it didn't seem to want to work right because I had the wrong phone or something. It was actually for the whole iRadar system, but this is something a little different, so let's get this thing into a good spot and we'll figure out where we need to put it. In the back seat, And the first thing is we got to have a clean windshield. And back, well, it's a windshield in the back, so let's not split hairs. So I got to have a clean windshield back here, and I got to clean the one up front. I don't dare shut the door because the door latches don't work back here, and I don't like climbing through. So let's get this cleaned up, and we'll get the rear one mounted where we need to, and then we'll start on the next one, get the front mounted. So now that we got this spot clean, we need to figure out where we need to put it. I don't really like the fact I don't want to put it over this stuff, but I got no real choice. So I'm going to mount it up high out of the way. And this thing pivots, so I can actually pivot it down, and hopefully, where is it? Yeah, hopefully these little lines don't get in the way. So I'm going to mount this up high here in the middle and get that set up, and then we'll go find a place up front for the other one up there, and then we'll figure out how to run all the wires between the two. I don't think it should be too hard, but well, time will tell. Well, this is kind of neat. This actually has a it's a magnetic mount. You just pull it apart, and it's got a magnet, and you just, oh crap, that's a strong magnet. So let's figure out a place up here to put this and get this mounted, and then we'll get the wires run. So I've got it mounted. I've got that one mounted up back there, as you can see. And I've got this one mounted up behind the mirror. There's a reason for that. I'm not crazy about it. But the problem is this. When you start having too many things hanging low and you have things all over your windshield that are blocking your point of view, that becomes a problem. So this shouldn't be a problem where it's at. I may have to, you know, turn the mirror a little bit to see the screen or whatnot, but this thing does pop off pretty easily. So I'm not crazy about the spot it's in, but it's in the best spot where it could be. So, I mean, it's not going to interfere with the mirror. It's not going to interfere with my view. And it's not something I'm really going to be looking at while we're driving. So I've got that up. I've got that up. Let's get the wires hooked together and see what happens from there. I'm going to have to, I think I can, from the back, I think I can drag it around the headliner, but I'm going to have to pull that down there, take that clip off, pull that down, run it through here, and hopefully I can bring it out up front here and down. Okay, so I've got it run to here. We've had to pull this down a little bit. I've got to get it past this here. It's kind of still sticking out right here, but I get that all tucked in here in a minute. Oops. Try to do that without breaking anything. And then once we get it past here, I can give it a little tug, and it should pull everything back here a little bit more taut. So we'll put this back together and then move on forward. Okay, so we took the visor down and the hold down clip down. This stuff will just pull down a little bit. You don't have to get hard with it. So what we're going to do is take this, and I'm going to put it on this side of this. That way it doesn't fall out. And then we're going to put it on this side of this also, and then drop it out right here. Once we figure out what length it needs to be, we'll just tuck the excess underneath the headliner, and it should be all right. So I have a little loop pulled here. This is already running right around here. And part of why we're having it on this side and this side is that way it doesn't fall out this way. It's got something to hold it in. So now that we got this in, I'm going to put this in and get all this back together. Get this wire hooked up, and then we will be able to then run the power lines for the dash cam. But these are just the data links, so let's get this done up and all buttoned up, and then we'll run the power lines and go from there. Oh, the power lines, oh, I'll get to that here in a minute. Okay, we've got all of this stuff mounted up here. We're not going to put this together just yet for a minute, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. But when you run these lines up through here, I pulled them out of here, made sure they were straight, and then I fed them back into this open space up here. The reason I did that is, one, I didn't want them kinked, but two, I didn't want them rubbing against anything, and I didn't want them balling up to where I might damage the headliner. They just need to lay flat in a relaxed state. So I think we got that, and I hope I didn't screw this up. I'm left-handed and nothing ever gets right. So let's do this. We'll get the power wires up, and the reason I didn't put it all together yet is because we are going to run the power line. We're going to run that up through here, back down. I'm going to run it through here, down here, and I really don't want to take the dashboard out, but so I'll run it through the side here, back under the dash, and then it'll come out right here and plug into this outlet here for now. Truth be known, if I really wanted to do it, I could get a separate 12-volt plug and actually mount it in the glove box to where this would plug into that. And I'll show you why, because cop cars are kind of neat this way. A lot of the lighting in cop cars had a separate fuse box in here. So there is power inside the fuse box. And I could put a 12-volt plug in here, but I really don't have time, and I really don't want to, honestly, for what I'm doing. But yeah, I could route it through here or through the side here, and it'd be all right. But for what I'm doing with it, as long as it's in a semi-permanent state, I could put a little piece of flex tape or something over that side and completely camouflage it. So it's really not going to be a big deal. In fact, I'll probably run it down the A-pillar and drop it out the bottom here. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let me get to that. So what I've done is I've run the power cord back here. That way it stays behind this. That way when I start pulling to run it down the A-pillar, it doesn't fall out the front. I've done the same thing over here. So it comes up to here to about here. It's going to come across here and then back down the A-pillar. Fun fact, every Crown Vic I've ever run into has been set up with wires on this side for a spotlight and a hole. Just because it doesn't have one doesn't mean you can't put one in. There's the plug in right there, and there's the hole. If you were to put a spotlight in, you just drill straight out here and put a bracket here. You'd have to cut a notch in the door, but that's a power line. So if you needed power on this side, there it is. Okay, so we got the camera set up and it's plugged in, and I even downloaded the app and got all that in. So let me show it to you. It's actually kind of neat. I just haven't figured out how to use the rear cam yet, but it's hooked up, so, and it's permanent. So let's go from there and figure this out. As you can see, it's all plugged in right there. Everything's put back like it should have been. I got the rear cam back there, and with the app, it's remarkably easy to use. So I think I'm going to, I don't know, I got a couple extra pads in case this isn't right. We can actually pull this off and re-stick it in the window. I think it'll be okay, but it's got back and forth, but it doesn't have side to side, which is kind of disappointing. But I think we'll take it for a spin, and I'll see if I can't get the rear dash cam working, and then we'll just have to go from there. So give me a bit and we'll get this thing going. I know it's kind of hard to see, but they do have you got the rear camera here, which actually is aimed just about perfect, and the front camera here, and we'll have to figure this out when we get to the app. I've got the app downloaded, so and it's also, let's get this buttoned up. It appears to be recording, and we'll take this thing for a drive and we'll see what we come up with. So I kind of want to take it up to the car wash anyways, so let's get this thing straightened up and we'll see at the car wash. So I went for a drive and I got it all out, and I had some things to take care of, and it's late, so we're not going to go out to the car at the moment. But I did record some video, and the video came out pretty good. It's not 4K, but the app was a little difficult to use. I'll see if I can find some open source pictures to use. I'm not sure how a lot of this copyright stuff works, just because it's things are so convoluted right now. I really don't want to get in any trouble. So let me show you the video where I recorded, and then I'll talk about the app, and I'll see if I can get some open source stuff to show you, like how it's all set up. And I'll tell you how the app works, and we'll just go from there. So it actually was pretty good. The video is great, and it's all time-stamped and marked. So here's that video. Now overall, I think even with the defroster in the back, it's really good clear. It's got time-stamped. It's got speed. It's got your GPS locations and all that. I could have done a little better on the front, lining it up, but I can correct that later. But as you see, everything is actually really clear. I was really impressed by this, and it gave me some good video. Now the app was kind of neat. It had a really neat split screen view and a GPS location on a map. It was okay to use, but the neat stuff was here. On the split screen here, they actually, you can get front and back on both all the way down, and everything's time-stamped. It was fairly easy to use, but the app itself was a little more tough. Now here's the deal. If I was to just go off of what I read on the reviews, according to the reviews, the app is hot garbage. What I did, I thought it was for the Cobra, even though it's a Cobra Dashcam, but it's a smart drive, so it's a different company doing the app. I could see where people would not like it. What a lot of, like I said, what a lot of guys didn't like about it on the actual reviews was just basically just geeky stuff that really, techie geeky stuff, yeah, that really doesn't matter a whole lot. Like the SD card's not big enough, or you're going to need a bigger card, or things of that nature. What I read on the reviews about the app was hot garbage. Now, I played with the app for a while, and it's a little overcomplicated. It's a little convoluted. Nothing's just true click and drag or this, but we're dealing with cell phones, and we're dealing with, things of this nature. So the app, there was certain, like a couple extra steps I didn't feel like needed to be there, but I understood why they were there. Once I got used to working on the app, it crashed a little bit here and there, but for the most part, once I figured it out, I got my stuff onto the phone. Part of the problem is that my phone is outdated. I know if I get a new phone with all the new software in it, I probably won't have that much trouble. It was just like with my dash cam. Once I, get a new phone, I won't have much trouble with that either. But aside from that, it was pretty good. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, here we are. So as a general install, it all depends on what vehicle you have. You can buy it there at Best Buy, and the Geek Squad will put it in. If you don't want to do it, they'll put it in. Probably cost you a little bit, but it'll save you the headache. And I'm thinking I was going to do this and see how it worked, and then get one for my mom's car, because she's talking about getting a dash cam, and I'll probably pay to have the Geek Squad put it in. That way we don't have to, But overall views, I like it. I actually really do like it. It's got a great split screen up front. You got the main, and then you got the little. Now, it's hidden behind the mirror, so I did that on purpose, so I don't find myself staring at the dash cam while I'm trying to drive. Don't need that. Get it going. I can see if it's recording or not about this far below the mirror. That's all I need. Installation. My installation was a breeze. I overcomplicated putting it in the car. If I just run the wires on top of everything, I could have had this thing going in like 3.5 minutes. It was basic plug and play. It was great. I'm going to need a bigger SD card, like I said. Comes with a 16 gig SD card, and it's good for a couple hours. But truthfully, I'm going to probably put a 32 or a 64 in there. I'm going to put as big as they'll allow me, because I got some neat things I want to record. But aside from that, so far I'm impressed. I can't wait to play with it a little more. It's a permanent mount, so it's not going to go from car to car. So that's kind of nice. It's hardwired in, it's mounted. The only thing I didn't, well, there's two things. I hated it, but I liked it, was where it plugs in. It requires a cigarette lighter or a cigarette lighter adapter. The neat thing on the other end was, on the other end of that plug, it's a USB, so you could actually plug in something on that side and not waste an outlet. But truthfully, I would have much rather had it hardwired in somewhere else. And I may still get an actual plug and mount it in the glove box. That way I can free up things under my dash. But if that's the only thing I'm criticizing it for, it's not a bad. So I've got all the wires run. Everything's great. It's a clean install. One of my cleaner works. So, hey, I'm going to play with it a little more, but from what I've seen, if you're in the market for a dash cam, this is a great starter. It's for $179 plus tax. Came with a rear camera, all the hardware to wire it, and the cleanness of the install depends on you. So I liked it. So, well, I appreciate it. Hopefully this was informative. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next video. I meant to say also, I haven't tried it at night yet, so I'm anxious to see what it does at night, but I'll play with it more, and if it looks as good as it is during the day, it'll be alright. So, catch you.